And spoiler alert, it's not keto. Hi guys, and welcome back to IRL Jax, where I talk about my real life as it happens and bring you along for the ride. Today I'm going to be continuing my polycystic ovarian syndrome series, where I talk about polycystic ovarian syndrome and tell you everything you need to know about diet, exercise, and getting pregnant with PCOS. Today we're going to be talking about diet and what the do's and don'ts are of dieting and picking a good lifestyle as far as your food goes when you have polycystic ovarian syndrome. We have to back up a little bit because it's really important to understand insulin and insulin resistance when we're talking about a proper diet with polycystic ovarian syndrome, since most women with polycystic ovarian syndrome also have some degree of insulin resistance. Insulin is a hormone produced by the pancreas. When you have high levels of blood sugar in your bloodstream, the pancreas produces insulin. It acts as a key to let sugar or glucose into your cells and provide energy for your cells. Insulin resistance is when those keys don't fit into the locks anymore and your cell rejects the insulin and the sugar back out into your bloodstream. This prevents you from burning fat in an effective manner, and it also stresses out your pancreas, who's going to rush to produce more insulin. It also increases your risk of type 2 diabetes. Before making this video, I consulted with a gynecologist, a reproductive endocrinologist, and a nutritionist, as well as the internet, as well as several books before I came up with what the best diet for polycystic ovarian syndrome sufferers is. And all of my research and all of my talks have led me to believe that a low glycemic index diet is the best. A low glycemic index or a low GI diet is one where the carbohydrates that you consume break down slowly, which allows your bloodstream to have a steady level of blood sugar instead of it spiking up and down and causing your body to need to produce large amounts of insulin and process it all within a short amount of time. It's important to note that only foods that contain carbs affect your blood sugar. This is glucose, fructose, and galactose. So that's your normal sugar from fruit, and then your sugars from milk. A large amount of easing PCOS symptoms is trying to manage the symptoms that come along with insulin resistance. With that in mind and the goal to create a low glycemic index diet or lifestyle, here's the tools that you need to succeed. First, you need a good GI index website. I have linked a few of my favorites down in the description box below for you to check out. It's more important just to familiarize yourself with things that have a high GI rating over something that has a low GI index so that you can start making smarter choices about what you eat and start making smarter substitutions. Next, I highly recommend making a meal plan. Accidents happen when you don't have a meal plan. When it is 6 o'clock and you're tired from work and there's nothing ready for you at home to make, you stop by Taco Bell. It happens. Next, I suggest reducing caffeine. Caffeine interferes with your body's ability to process blood sugar effectively. Caffeine fools the body into thinking it has enough sugar when it doesn't. And when the caffeine wears off, your body panics because it thinks it's been fueling all these cells with glucose, and really it's just been a false high from the caffeine. It causes your body to panic and then tell you to eat more things to get your blood sugar up, and it also puts your body into overdrive, transforming fat back into glucose in the short term, which of course we don't want to spike our blood sugar. We want to keep it steady, so this isn't the desired effect. Obviously, if I'm telling you to reduce your caffeine, I have to tell you to get good regular sleep. That means 8 hours dedicated to sleeping every day, which I know is a lot for most people, but it's really critical in balancing out your body and keeping you from turning back to caffeine for energy or snacking on sugary things to keep your energy up. Now, I'm not going to get into the specifics of different foods and their glycemic index. I wanted to touch on one area in particular that I think we all tend to indulge a little bit in, and that's our alcohol consumption. When it comes to happy hour and a low glycemic index, wine is your best bet. It's the lowest glycemic index as far as your alcohol choices go, and it'll keep you from totally wrecking your glycemic index rating for the day. So for women with PCOS, there's an extra challenge in dealing with your diet, and it's that your hormones often affect how well you feel as far as your energy levels and your cravings. While there's not anything you can particularly do about this, it's important to remember it and keep it in mind as you face the challenges of switching up your diet. I don't really like the term diet, and I prefer a lifestyle because you're going to have polycystic ovarian syndrome for the rest of your life, and just going on a diet isn't going to cut it. You're going to need to change your lifestyle to make a real change, and that means making very small, incremental changes that you can sustain for long term being the rest of your life. So, that being said, we don't want to cause any rebounds or crashes coming off of sugar or caffeine. So when you make these changes, do them slowly. If you're used to 6 cups of coffee a day, do not go cold turkey. You will eventually turn back to caffeine. Instead, reduce it about 1 cup every week or 2 so that your body gets used to it and you don't fill your cravings for caffeine or sugar with something else. The same rule applies to everything else in your life. If you're used to eating white pasta and bread, don't try to substitute with a lettuce wrap week 1. You're not going to like it and your body's going to revolt against you, as well as your mind. When you're making these incremental changes, it applies to the rest of your diet as well. For instance, for pasta, if you're starting with white flour-based pasta, the next step down to a healthier thing would be 100% whole grain pasta. And from there, you could go to a pre-made spinach-based pasta. And from there, if you want to go all the way to the other end of the spectrum, you could do freshly spiralized zucchini pasta. But anywhere you stop on that gradient, you've made a healthier change. And that's the goal. Keep stepping down, one thing at a time, healthier, until you've hit the wall where you're like, okay, this is as far as I can go. I can't make it to spinach pasta, but I can do 100% whole grain pasta, and that's still better from where you were before. Then move on to the next thing, and the next thing, and the next thing, and make sure you do it in small incremental changes so that it's sustainable. Again, this is your lifestyle, not a diet. Keep it simple, and keep it steady. When I was doing my research and talking to different professionals, there was a few diets that they told me to strictly avoid. These diets they told me to avoid were high fat, high protein, and keto-based diets. Shifting your diet to extremes like high fat or high protein stresses out different organs in your body that now have to work overtime to process all of that material. And again, it's a diet instead of a lifestyle. Specifically, my reproductive endocrinologist, or my fertility doctor, cautioned against keto because it's very dangerous during pregnancy. High ketone levels in the bloodstream have damaging effects on fetuses. High ketogens lead to nausea and subsequent loss of appetite, which again is going to cause the feeling of being too hungry or not hungry enough and spike your blood sugar since you're not having a steady intake of food. There has been no data supporting low carb or high fat or all organic or keto diets in relation to positively affecting PCOS. On the flip side, there have been plenty of studies on the positive effects of a low glycemic index diet on your blood sugar. Granted, most of these were in relation to diabetes, but since insulin resistance and diabetes are so closely related, most of the doctors that I talked to took these into account when giving their recommendation for the diet that someone with PCOS should go on. I hope you found this video helpful, and if you're interested in learning more about PCOS, check out the other videos in this series. And if you're interested in finding out more about my own personal story with PCOS, infertility, pregnancy, and miscarriage, go ahead and check out the other videos on my channel. If you liked the content in this video and you'd like me to continue making more, please give this video a like. Thanks for watching, and until next time, keep on fighting!